My name is Lauren Mitchell. I'm 31 years old, and I learned the hard way that sometimes a break is just a breakup you weren't invited to participate in. The day it happened, I was on stage in a hotel ballroom under two bright lights, pitching a new logistics package to a room full of potential clients. Thursday, 2:17 p.m., the little clock on the back wall read, when my phone buzzed in my blazer pocket. I couldn't look, not while I was walking a room of 30 people through Q4 projections and service tiers. So I finished my pitch. I smiled, answered questions, shook hands, collected business cards like a good little professional. At 3:30 p.m., when the conference break started and the crowd spilled toward coffee and pastries, I finally checked my phone. There it was. Evan. Hey, just a heads up. Told my family and friends we're taking a break. Didn't want you blindsided if people ask. LOL. We can talk about it when you're back Sunday. My brother's wedding is Saturday, so gonna be crazy busy anyway. I read it once, twice, a third time, just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. He told everyone we're taking a break. Past tense, already done. Not, I think we should take a break. Not, can we talk about taking a break? Just a notification that while I was 900 miles away, trying to land a contract that could make or break my quarter, my relationship status had been downgraded without my input. His brother's wedding was in 8 days. Evan was the best man. I'd spent months hearing about color schemes, speeches, and how perfect the photos needed to be. And now, apparently, I was optional. I typed back, fingers weirdly steady for how sick my stomach felt. Thanks for letting me know. That was it. No emoji, no question. Just a sentence that tasted like ice in my mouth. I walked past the conference spread, little tartlets, tiny sandwiches, to the hotel bar and ordered a whiskey I wasn't sure I'd actually drink. Sat there for 2 hours. Stared at the condensation on the glass, while the TV above the bar played sports highlights I didn't register. We'd been together 2 years. Evan had been living in my apartment for 14 months. Well, living might have been generous. He'd gradually moved in, a drawer here, a shelf there, and suddenly half my closet was his. The lease, though, that was mine. We split groceries and utilities. Everything else went through my account. Lately, he'd been off. More nights out with friends. More nights out late at the office. A lot more time on his phone, screen turned just slightly away from me. Every little annoyance, snapping at me over laundry, rolling his eyes when I asked about his schedule, clicked into place around that text like magnets. He wanted to go to his brother's wedding without me, and he didn't want to look like the bad guy, so he called it space, a break. I pulled out my laptop, the bar's dim light reflecting on the screen, and typed something I should have Googled a long time ago. Guest versus tenant rights, not on lease. Article after article popped up. Lawyer blogs. Tenant advocacy pages. Different states, slightly different rules, same core idea. If they're not on the lease, don't pay rent directly to the landlord, and there's no rental agreement, they're a guest, not a tenant. And a guest can be asked to leave. I read way too many paragraphs about established tenancy, constructive eviction, and documentation. Then I read Evan's text again. Told my family and friends we're taking a break. He'd already made a decision about us without me, publicly. He could want space as a single man, he just wasn't going to want it in my apartment. Friday morning, I called my landlord from the tiny desk in my hotel room. Quick question, I said, trying to keep my voice casual. Shoot, he replied. My boyfriend's been staying with me for a while, but he's not on the lease. If we break up, what's the procedure? There was a pause. He paying me rent? Got his name on any paperwork? No, everything goes through me. We just split utilities between ourselves. Then he's a guest, my landlord said. You want him gone? Tell him. If he refuses, that's trespassing. Put it in writing, email or text, so you have a paper trail. Cover your ass legally. I exhaled slowly. That's it? That's it. Your name's the only one on the lease, Lauren. We hung up. I stared at my reflection in the dark laptop screen for a full minute, mascara still on, hair still in the neat twist I'd done at 6 a.m. this morning. I did not look like someone whose life was falling apart. Finished the conference Friday afternoon. Nailed my second presentation. Shook hands. Smiled for pictures. Colleagues told me I crushed it. I did not mention that my boyfriend had just publicly downgraded our relationship like it was a subscription plan. Saturday morning, I flew home. Evan wasn't there when I opened the door to my apartment, probably doing wedding errands with his family. The place looked the same. His hoodie on the back of the chair, his shoes by the door, his stupid collection of novelty beer glasses lining my kitchen shelf. It took exactly one deep breath for me to start. I grabbed every single thing that was clearly his and put it into boxes. Clothes, shoes, the cologne he practically bathed in before nights out, his video game consoles, his stack of fitness magazines. That framed poster from his college days I'd always hated but tolerated. 4 hours later, my living room looked like a moving day had exploded. Neat stacks of boxes labeled in black marker. Bedroom, bathroom, gaming stuff, junk drawer. His expensive grooming products that cost more than my entire skincare routine, the protein powders, the pre-workout tubs, the beard oil, into a box. The random gym equipment he'd parked in my hallway leaned against the wall next to the boxes. Then I called a locksmith. "Saturday afternoon appointment?" he asked. "Emergency or standard?" "Standard," I said. "I just need the locks changed." At 4 p.m., it was done. New keys in my hand, old keys in the trash. I sat on my couch, now that I didn't have to move 5 of his throw blankets and 3 hoodies to sit down, and waited. He came home at 8:43 p.m. The sound of his keys scraping uselessly in the lock was surreal. A metallic, desperate little rattle. Then pounding. "Lauren, hey, my keys messed up or something." I walked to the door and slid the chain on before opening it a crack. Evan's face appeared in the gap, half annoyed, half relieved. "Oh, thank God, something's wrong with my key. It won't—" "I changed the locks," I said. He blinked, smiled like I'd made a joke. "What? Why would you do that?" "You told everyone we're taking a break," I replied, my voice calm in a way that surprised even me. "I'm just making it permanent." The smile vanished. "What are you talking about? We're not broken up. We're taking a break. There's a difference." "Not anymore," I said. "Your stuff's packed. It's all in the living room." His eyes widened. "Lauren, no. That's not— I didn't mean break up. I meant a pause. Some space. I'm stressed. My brother's wedding is next week. I needed to breathe." "Cool," I said. "You can breathe somewhere else, as a single man. You can't just— That's not how this works." "You announced a break to your entire family and friend group without asking me," I said. "I'm announcing a breakup, also without asking you. Seems fair." His face flushed an angry red. "You're being insane. Let me in so we can talk like adults." "There's nothing to discuss," I said. "Your things are boxed up right inside the door. You can take them now, or I can drop them at your parents' place tomorrow." "My things?" he repeated, like the phrase offended him. "I live here, Lauren." "No," I said quietly. "You stayed here. You're not on the lease. You never signed anything. You're a guest." "I have rights," he snapped. "I've been here over a year." "Funny, my landlord disagrees," I said. I called him. "You're not a tenant. You're a guest who's now being asked to leave." For the first time since I'd met him, Evan went completely speechless. His mouth opened and closed, no sound coming out. "This is because of the break text?" he finally managed. "Are you serious right now? My brother's wedding is in 8 days. I'm the best man. I've been stressed out of my mind and needed some space to breathe, and this is how you react?" "You needed space," I said. "I gave it to you. Permanently." His jaw clenched. "You're being so dramatic." I smiled, a small, tired thing. "You have 2 choices. Take your boxes now, or I'll deliver them to your parents tomorrow. Either way, you're not sleeping here tonight." See. His eyes burned into mine. A muscle jumped in his cheek. "This isn't over," he said. "Actually," I replied, closing the door, "it is." The latch clicked. I slid the chain off and leaned my forehead against the cool wood for a second. On the other side, I heard him curse under his breath, then drag a box. Trip after trip down the hall. Out of my apartment, out of my life. Every scrape of cardboard against the floor sounded like a chapter closing. Sunday morning, my phone looked like it had been in a car accident. 28 messages, 7 missed calls, 3 voicemails. I stared at the lock screen for a second like it belonged to someone else. First one, from Evan, time-stamped 11:52 p.m. the night before. "We need to talk, you're overreacting. I said break, not break up. This is so unfair." Then, stacked under it, "You can't throw me out like that. I'm coming back tomorrow and we're talking about this. You're being abusive. My therapist is going to hear about this. I can't believe you changed the locks while I was helping my brother." I scrolled down, jaw tightening. "His mom. What on earth is going on, Lauren?" "Evan called me crying at midnight saying you threw him out." "His sister. This is really bad timing. My wedding is in a week. Can you guys please work this out after?" "The best man's girlfriend." Wow. Kicking him out over him needing space? Real mature. His dad. "Lauren, I think we need to have a conversation about this." And then more from Evan. Apologetic. Angry. Apologetic again. The digital equivalent of pacing. I set the phone on the kitchen counter and made coffee instead. For a few quiet minutes, it was just the sound of the machine and the hum of the fridge. My apartment felt bigger somehow, less crowded, like someone had turned down a noise I didn't realize was there. I sat at the table, opened the group of texts from his mother, and forced myself to read. Her. That's not what he told me. He said you kicked him out with no warning over a simple miscommunication. I scrolled to my screenshots, pulled up the one with his heads up break text, and attached it. Me. He informed me he'd already told everyone we're taking a break. No discussion beforehand. Sent while I was at a work conference. He told people before he told me. Her reply came fast. She was stressed about the wedding. You couldn't be understanding for 1 week? Me. She? There was a long pause, then, sorry, I'm upset. He was stressed. I stared at the screen for a second, then locked the phone and set it face down. No reply to his sister. No reply to his best man's girlfriend. No reply to Evan. Silence from my side was a boundary too. Around noon, someone knocked. 3 sharp, angry raps. I checked the peephole. His mom stood there in a quilted jacket, hair perfectly sprayed into place. Beside her, slightly behind, Evan shifted his weight from foot to foot, hands jammed in his pockets, eyes red-rimmed and sulky. I didn't open it. "Lauren, I know you're in there," his mom called, voice already edged with indignation. "Open this door right now." "No," I said, perfectly calm. "Not interested." "My son lives here," she snapped. "You can't just lock him out of his own home." I almost laughed. He doesn't live here. He stayed here. Big difference. "He's been paying bills here for over a year," she said triumphantly. "That makes him a tenant. This is illegal." I exhaled slowly. "He's been sending me money for utilities over Venmo. He's not on the lease, no rental agreement. I already checked with my landlord. He's a guest. Guests can be asked to leave." Silence. For a long moment, all I heard was the muffled sounds of the hallway and someone's TV faintly through another door. Then his mom again, lower, like she was trying a new tactic. "Sweetheart, be reasonable. You don't throw away 2 years over one badly worded text." On the other side, Evan muttered, "I told you she'd overreact." My chest went cold. I didn't answer. After 10 minutes of shifting, whispering, and occasional knocks, they left. At 2:03 p.m., my phone buzzed again. "Evan, I'm coming to get the rest of my stuff at 4. Be there." I checked the apartment. I'd done a good job. Closet cleared, bathroom cleared, kitchen cabinets, empty of his protein bars and pre-workout that made my counter look like a supplement store. Then, in the bedroom, I saw it. His old college duffel bag under the bed, half-zipped, a watch box on the dresser, a ratty hoodie in the laundry hamper. Me, you got almost everything last night. There are a few leftover items. 400, 15 minutes. Evan, 15 minutes? That's not enough time to go through everything. Me, then 3:30, still 15 minutes. After that, anything left gets donated. Evan, you can't donate my stuff. Me, 3:30 or Goodwill. At 3:28, there was a knock. Louder this time. I opened the door, chain still on. Evan wasn't alone. He'd brought his best friend, his sister, and his mom. A full intervention committee. They walked in like a storm when I slid the chain off, his mom leading, his sister's jaw already clenched, his best friend radiating judgment. I stepped aside but stayed near the door. My phone was in my pocket, camera ready if I needed it. I'd already decided that if anyone raised their voice too much, I'd call the non-emergency line. His mom started before anyone even crossed the threshold. "Can we please talk about this rationally?" she said. "Throwing him out on the street because he needed some space? That's not who you are, Lauren." "Evan has 14 boxes in his car," I said. "He's not on the street. He's at his parents'. He's safe. He has support. He has a place to sleep. He just doesn't have my apartment." His best friend scoffed. "You are such a jerk. He made one mistake and you're punishing him like this." 12 minutes left, I said, checking the time. Clock's ticking. Evan rolled his eyes and disappeared into the bedroom, grabbing the last of his things. Watchbox, hoodie, duffel. He came back out waving the duffel slightly. "See? This is what I mean. You missed stuff. What else did you pack wrong?" "That's everything," I said. 9 minutes. His sister stepped forward then, hands clasped like she was about to pray. "Look, I get that you're upset," she said. "But my wedding is in 6 days. 6. Do you have any idea how much this complicates everything? You're supposed to walk with one of the groomsmen. You're on the program. People are expecting you. Can you guys please just pause this drama until after?" I stared at her. "Your brother announced to everyone that we were taking a break without speaking to me," I said. "I made it permanent. That's not drama. That's a decision." "It's my wedding," she said, voice rising. "Can you seriously not suck it up for one day and pretend everything's fine? For me?" No, I said, I'm not attending. Her eyes went wide. What? We're not together, I said. I'm not coming to your wedding as his plus one. I'm not walking in your processional. I'm not smiling for photos like nothing happened. You're in the program, she insisted. You're walking with Liam. We already printed everything. We organized the seating chart. I didn't agree to be in a play, I said. You'll figure it out. This is my wedding day, she snapped. You're going to ruin it. I'm not ruining anything, I replied. I won't be there. You won't even notice. Her mom gasped. This is incredibly selfish, after everything my son has done for you. I tilted my head. Like what? She opened her mouth, closed it. He supported you through what specifically? I asked. The silence that followed was louder than any shouting. Time was up. Everybody out, I said quietly. They froze. Evan's got his things, I added. We're done here. His best friend muttered something under his breath about psycho as he brushed past me. His mom shot me a look like she wished she could slap sense into me. His sister's eyes burned with resentment that had nothing to do with me and everything to do with her perfect wedding fantasy cracking. Evan was last at the door. He turned back, eyes bright with anger and something that looked suspiciously like panic. You'll regret this, he said. When you're alone and miserable, you'll realize what you gave up. Maybe, I said. But I won't be wondering if my boyfriend is announcing relationship status changes without me, so he can look available. That's a win. His jaw clenched. You're twisting everything. I opened the door wider, gesturing out. Enjoy your break, Evan. He walked out. I closed the door, turned the deadbolt, slid the chain. For a long moment, I just stood there, hand on the cool metal. Then, at 7:14 p.m., my phone buzzed. Evan, I know you're mad, but you need to understand why I told people we were on a break. I stared at the message. Did I? Another text came in before I could decide. Erica's going to be at the wedding. With her fiancé. I didn't want it to be weird. There it was. The thing my gut had been whispering since the first heads-up text. I typed back. So you wanted to appear single to your ex at your brother's wedding? That's not what I said, he replied. I just didn't want to look desperate. Like I moved on too fast. It's complicated. No, I thought, my chest going oddly quiet. It's really not. You wanted to test the waters with your ex while keeping me on the hook. And I'd just cut the line. Evan didn't text again that night, but the quiet wasn't comforting. It was the kind of quiet that comes right before a storm breaks open. Monday afternoon, 1:12 p.m., a number I didn't recognize popped up on my screen. Voicemail, his mother, of course. I played it on speaker while folding laundry. Lauren, we need to discuss what happened at the wedding. My son had a complete emotional breakdown because of you. He couldn't even enjoy his own brother's special day. You broke up with him right before he had to face his ex and all our extended family, and quite frankly, it was cruel. You owe him and us an apology. Click. I set the phone down on the bed, stared at the clean stack of towels, breathed out slowly. Ah, so now I was the villain in her carefully curated narrative. I was still shaking my head when my phone buzzed again, this time from Hannah, Evan's sister. Hannah, you need to pay half of the photo editing cost. The photographer wants $800 extra to fix Evan's red crying eyes in the pictures. You ruined my wedding. I blinked. Me, I wasn't at your wedding. Hannah, exactly, he was upset the whole night. Because of you. Me. Interesting. Because I just heard from Mark. Remember Mark? Your fiancé's friend? The one Erica is marrying. He said Evan spent the reception flirting with his ex and upsetting her and her fiancé. So no, Hannah, I'm not paying anything. 3 dots, then nothing. I tossed my phone onto the bed. 5 minutes of peace. Then it buzzed again. Another number I didn't know. Voicemail. I almost didn't listen. Almost. But curiosity won. A man's voice. Tight. Controlled. Hey, Lauren, this is Mark, Erica's fiancé. I'm sorry to bother you, but we need to talk about what happened at the wedding. My stomach dropped. Oh, this was about to get interesting. I called back. He answered on the first ring. Hey, he said, thanks for calling. This is awkward. I sat on the edge of the bed. Go ahead. He exhaled. Evan cornered Erica multiple times during the reception. My heartbeat picked up. Cornered her? Yeah, he kept following her around, talking about their past, asking if she ever thought about what could have been. He even touched her arm at one point. My mom saw it. Jesus. He also told a few people you two were working things out and you just needed space. Mark paused. That's not true, is it? No, I said, it's not. Yeah, that tracks, he muttered, because Erica spent half the night avoiding him, and he kept trying to get her alone. My fingers curled around the comforter. I'm so sorry you and Erica had to deal with that. Not your fault, but I figured you should know. He told people you two were basically still together. I closed my eyes for a moment. Of course he did. He told me he didn't want to look desperate in front of her, I said quietly. Mark sighed. That explains everything. We hung up after that. Both tired, both understanding more than we wished we did. 10 minutes later, another message from Hannah. Hannah, you don't know the full story. Me. I know Evan told people we were getting back together while trying to break up someone else's engagement. That's enough. Left on red, forever. Later that evening, around 7:40 p.m., I was brushing my hair when the doorbell camera pinged. Motion detected. I opened the app. There he was, Evan, sitting on the mat outside my door, hoodie up, head down, holding his phone like he was waiting for a sign from the universe. He knocked once. Lauren, I know you're home. I set my brush down. Didn't move. I just need 5 minutes, he said, please. Silence from my side. He stood, paced, sat, took a dramatic deep breath, pulled out his phone and recorded an Instagram story. Caption. Sometimes love means fighting, even when they push you away. Real relationships take work. I stared at the screen, disbelief turning slowly into cold irritation. He waited outside for nearly an hour, talking to himself, recording a second story. When passive-aggressive theatrics turned into persistence, I made the call. Hi, I told the dispatcher. My ex-boyfriend is sitting outside my apartment refusing to leave. He's not threatening, but I've asked him multiple times and he won't go. The officer arrived 15 minutes later. Sir, you need to leave, the cop said. I'm waiting for my girlfriend, Evan insisted. He called us, the officer replied. You need to go. I live here, Evan argued. The officer raised an eyebrow. Are you on the lease? No, but I stayed here for... Then you're trespassing if you don't leave when the tenant asks. Evan sputtered. This is harassment. The officer glanced at my ring camera, pointed right at them. Sir, he said flatly, you've been sitting outside for nearly 2 hours. That's enough. Evan finally stood, shoulders tense. He glared at my door like I had personally betrayed him in front of a jury. This isn't over, he muttered. The officer turned to the camera. Ma'am, if he comes back and refuses to leave again, call us. We'll document it. He left. The cop left. I sat down on my couch, exhaled, let the silence fill the apartment, warm and steady. The next morning, my phone buzzed at 9:16 a.m. Unknown number. Text. You'll regret calling the cops on me. This is just the beginning. I blocked it. 2 hours later, another text, another number. You're heartless. I'm telling my therapist everything. Blocked. 3 more by evening. All blocked. By Wednesday, I installed a secondary deadbolt and changed the locks again. Not because I was afraid, but because Evan was the kind of man who looked at boundaries like they were puzzles meant to be solved. Thursday morning, 8:03 a.m., ring notification. Motion detected. I tapped the camera feed and froze. Evan standing at my door, holding a key. An old key, one I didn't know he'd had duplicated. He slid it into the lock, jiggled it, tried again and again, growing frustrated. My heart thudded slowly, not with fear but something colder. Resolve. I dialed the non-emergency line. Hi, I said, voice steady. It's me again. My ex-boyfriend is trying to enter my apartment with a key I didn't give him. I have video footage. Officers are on their way, the operator said. The cop arrived while Evan was still jamming the useless key into the lock. What do you think you're doing? The officer asked. Evan spun, startled. I'm going into my apartment. Are you on the lease? The officer asked. No, but... Then this isn't your apartment, the officer said. And attempting to enter someone's home without permission is breaking and entering. Evan's face drained of color. I just wanted to talk to her. You've been warned once already, the officer said. If you return again without invitation, you will be arrested. Do you understand? Evan swallowed, nodded, left. An hour later, he texted from yet another new number. I hope you're happy. The cops threatened to arrest me, all because I wanted to talk to you. Me. You tried to break into my apartment. Do not contact me again. Blocked. And that was when I knew. This wasn't heartbreak. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't needing space. This was escalation. This was obsession. And it wasn't going to stop on its own. The harassment didn't stop. If anything, it changed shape, like Evan was trying on new tactics to see which one would get a reaction. Friday morning, 7:52 a.m., I opened my front door to leave for work, and there it was. An envelope on the mat, hand-delivered. My name written in that messy half-print, half-cursive handwriting Evan always had. I didn't pick it up right away. I just stared at it for a moment, feeling that cold ripple of annoyance and dread crawl up my spine. Then I grabbed a napkin from my kitchen, pinched the envelope with it, and set it on the table, just in case. Inside, a letterhead from a law office. A demand letter. I skimmed it once, twice, then sat down, slowly, like my bones needed a second to catch up. He was attacking on a new front. Evan, through a lawyer, was accusing me of an illegal eviction, emotional distress, forced relocation costs, totaling $12,000, therapy fees of $3,500, property worth $2,800 that I refused to return, and, my personal favorite, a written apology acknowledging wrongdoing. I barked a laugh so sharp it startled even me. He wanted money. He wanted control. He wanted to rewrite the story. The problem was, everything he'd written was fiction. I snapped photos of the letter and texted them to my friend Tyler, who happened to be a lawyer. Tyler called within 5 minutes, actually laughing as he answered. "Lauren," he said between breaths, "this is the dumbest demand letter I've ever seen." "Comforting," I said dryly. "He has no case. None. Zero. He wasn't on the lease. He didn't pay rent. And emotional distress requires actual damages. Does he have those?" "He has Instagram stories," I said. Tyler snorted. "Those count as damages to my intelligence, not a legal claim." "What do I do?" I asked. "Nothing," he said. "This is intimidation. If he files, call me. But he won't. People like him threaten lawsuits because they want leverage. They don't actually want to stand in front of a judge." I went quiet a second. "Tyler," I said. "He tried to get into my apartment with a key he shouldn't have." "Then you," he said firmly, "should file for a restraining order." I froze. I thought about it. "You have ring footage, police reports, multiple attempts at unwanted contact. Do it. Now." His voice wasn't joking anymore. "This is the exact kind of situation restraining orders are made for." The next morning I went to the courthouse. I filled out paperwork, attached screenshots, dates, descriptions, police incident numbers, doorbell footage stills. The clerk flipped through the packet and nodded, quietly impressed. "You documented everything," she said. I nodded stiffly. He's the kind of person who doesn't believe you until a third party tells him. 2 days later, Thursday morning, the hearing was set. I walked into the small courtroom with a folder full of documents and a stomach made of wet cement. Evan was already there, his mom beside him, a new lawyer, his jaw tight, eyes bright with anger or panic. Hard to tell. When the judge entered, everyone stood. Then we sat, and the world narrowed to a single point. "Ms. Mitchell," the judge began, "I've reviewed your petition. Please walk me through the timeline." My hands didn't shake, my voice didn't crack. I explained. I showed the text where he announced a break, the footage of him refusing to leave my door, the hour he sat outside, the police visit, the attempt to enter with an old key, the letter, the dozens of messages from new numbers. Everything. When I finished, the judge turned to Evan. "Mr. Harris, do you dispute any of this?" Evan glanced at his mom, then his lawyer. Then he tried. "Your Honor, I was just trying to talk to her. I wasn't stalking her. I wasn't trying to break in. I lived there for over a year." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Were you on the lease?" No. "Did you pay rent directly to the landlord?" No. "Then you did not live there," the judge said flatly. "You were a guest, and you attempted to enter her private residence after being explicitly told not to." "I just wanted closure," Evan tried again. "Closure," the judge said, "does not involve showing up repeatedly, ignoring requests to leave, or attempting entry without permission." His lawyer cleared his throat. "Your Honor, if I may, my client was traumatized by the sudden breakup. He was led to believe they were reconciling. I saw the texts," the judge interrupted. He was not led to believe anything of the sort. A tiny electric beats of silence. Then, restraining order granted. 1 year. No contact. No indirect contact. Must remain 500 feet from Ms. Mitchell at all times. Evan's jaw dropped. "What? I didn't even—" His mom stood up, furious. "Your Honor, this is ridiculous. She's ruining his life over nothing." "Ma'am," the judge said sharply, "sit down or I'll have you removed." She sat. Evan stared at me like he didn't know me, like I'd turned into someone unrecognizable, like he couldn't comprehend that the girl he once kept waiting, once dismissed, once minimized, had finally walked away for good. Outside the courtroom, his mother confronted me. "You have destroyed him," she hissed. "He can't even go to his favorite coffee shop because it's near your apartment. You took everything from him." A bailiff stepped between us. "Ma'am, back up." She obeyed, but her glare could have burned holes through concrete. I left the courthouse feeling lighter. Not happy, not triumphant. Just done. 3 days later, the phone rang again. Unknown number. but this time, a woman's voice on the voicemail. Hi, Lauren. It's Jenna, Mark's fiance. Ah, Erica's replacement. The one Evan tried to derail at the wedding. I called back out of courtesy. Lauren, she answered, relieved. Thanks for calling. I wanted to thank you. For what? I asked. For warning Mark. After the wedding, Evan kept trying to contact Erica, messaging her through friends, showing up at her gym. She was terrified. I closed my eyes. Of course, he had escalated there too. Mark documented everything, Jenna continued, because you told him what was going on. So when they filed for a restraining order, it went through easily. I sat down slowly. He filed one too? Approved yesterday, she said. Between your order and theirs, Evan can't go near half the city. I exhaled. Thank you for telling me. She hesitated, then gently said, He's not well, Lauren, and none of this is your fault. I hope you know that. When we hung up, I sat in the quiet of my apartment, my clean, calm, uncluttered apartment. A month later, I heard through the grapevine. Evan moved back in with his parents. He lost his job after too many sick days. His sister wasn't speaking to him. His mom blamed the whole world. The wedding photos cost $800 extra to fix. Erica and Mark were getting married, with 0 invitations for Evan. Even his best friend quietly distanced himself. And me? My life finally felt like mine again. My space, my schedule, my quiet. A few weeks later, I met someone new at a friend's rooftop barbecue. His name was Daniel. He was steady, smart, kind, a physical therapist who owned his own practice, his own home, his own life. On our second date, he asked what happened with Evan. I told him everything. All of it. Daniel listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back and said softly, So he downgraded the relationship without asking you, tried to keep the door open for his ex, and expected you to wait? Pretty much, I said. And you said no? Yes. He nodded thoughtfully. That takes backbone. A lot of people wouldn't have walked away. I smiled at that. Small, real. We're taking it slow, I added. Good, he said. And for the first time in months, I felt something warm unfurl inside me. Something like peace. Something like freedom. Something like finally choosing myself. And I ended the story like this. When someone makes major decisions about your relationship without you, believe them. When someone wants to test the waters with an ex while keeping you as a fallback, let them drown. I did, and I don't regret a thing.